In a world where technology is rewriting the rules at lightning speed, disruption isn't coming, it's already here. The question is, are you ready? Welcome to Tech Week, your insider's guide to the digital revolution transforming business, policy, and innovation in the Philippines and beyond. I'm your host, Jack Madrid, and we are cutting through the noise to bring you the real stories shaping our future. We're talking to the risk takers, the game changers, and the architects of tomorrow. Unfiltered and straight from the source. This is not just tech news, this is the roadmap to what's next. This is Tech Week, and this is how we decode the future. The global BPO industry is in the middle of a major shift. Automation, AI, and data are rewriting the rules, and service providers everywhere are racing to keep up. Here in the Philippines, the transformation is hitting differently. It is not just about efficiency, it is about protecting almost 2 million jobs, unlocking inclusive growth, and future-proofing an industry that has been the backbone of our economy. So what sets us apart? It is not just skills or scale. It is our people. A world-class talent pool, strong command of English, and a service culture rooted in empathy. Now, as global clients demand more tech-enabled solutions, our challenge is clear. Embrace innovation without losing our human edge. And leading that charge is someone who knows that balance well. Haidee Enriquez, the CEO of MicroSourcing and Beepo. With over 20 years in the game, she has helped shape the future of IT BPM in the Philippines, championing workforce upskilling, driving AI adoption, and building for long-term technology-powered growth. Haidee, welcome to Tech Week.
Hey, Jack. Great to see you again here, and thank you for having me.
I am looking forward to this conversation. Let us get straight to it. So, Haidee, you've been doing this for quite some time. You've been a witness to the growth of the IT BPM industry. In your words, how is the industry evolving in terms of tech adoption, and what does that mean for the kind of talent that companies like MicroSourcing now need?
You are right, no, Jack. I'm one of the veterans, so to speak, of the industry, and in that capacity, I really have been a witness to how the industry has transformed and continue to transform over the years. We've gone through a lot of changes, but honestly, nothing like we're seeing now. Yes. So clearly, the industry is going to a massive transformation. Gone were the days when the kind of work that we do in the industry were purely transactional. Nowadays, the type of work that is being done here in the Philippines are definitely more complex, more varied, and requiring a totally different kind of skill sets. Now, what that means for our talent is that language proficiency or proficiency in the English language is no longer the only key differentiator. So now work requires critical thinking, imagination, independent decision making, versus what was before, wherein people can just read from a script. So this particular transformation that we're seeing requires that talents are able to augment their skills with technology, but not as a form of displacement of jobs, but rather augmentation. At the end of the day, it's going to be about increased productivity and enhanced employee and client experience.
So technology augments human.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So in that context, Haidee, what specific tech roles or skills have become critical in today's IT BPM operation, especially in contact centers?
Yeah. You know, I remember several years ago when discussions started shaping up about AI and how it would impact our industry. There was, of course, a lot of fear that it would somehow result to job displacement, people losing jobs. There were even pundits were saying that, well, it will be the demise of the contact center industry. But you know how the industry have grown year over year. 2024 to 2025, we grew by around 7 to 8%. The reality is that while certain tasks have been automated already, there are many roles that have sprung up that wasn't there before. What are these roles, particularly in the contact center industry, like AI coaches and annotators are now in an upswing because you need people who will be able to navigate and teach AI and chatbots. Roles, for example, in cybersecurity, which right now is not there's a lot of need for it in the global stage, not just in the Philippines, because obviously in this digital world, the importance of keeping data sacred
Yes.
becomes even more important. Roles on RPA, robotics process automation, and data analytics are also now in an upswing. In a more technical function, we're seeing more roles that while they have been there for the longest time, roles, for example, like accounting and finance. Now, the requirement is made even more complex with an additional technology component to it. For example, for AU clients, Australia-based clients, it's not just being a certified public accountant or an accounting graduate, but you need to have experience in Zero, for example, a particular domain platform or technology that is being used for a particular function or discipline.
You mentioned Australia, Heidi. It just piqued my curiosity. Do you see potential for Australian investors in the Philippines?
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. And case in point is MicroSourcing. Our parent company is an Australia-based organization. And very recently, you probably know this, well, not 2 years ago, KKR, which is one of the world's biggest private equity management firm, invested in Probe Group and in MicroSourcing. So that tells you that global investors, whether they're based in Australia or elsewhere, are seeing a lot of potential in our industry. Otherwise, they would not have invested.
And that's really important because 70% of our business is still from North America.
Absolutely,
so it's good
correct.
to see some diversification.
Yep, and I think part of that diversification is also brought about by the fact that we have also diversified our focus and our service offering. I remember 20-something years ago, I just carbon dated myself there, 20 or so years ago, when there is a potential partner, for example, and the headcount requirement is 50 or less, we don't give them the time of the day, too small for us to deal with. But nowadays, for example, in the business model of MicroSourcing, we have allowed even startups and small and medium enterprises to partake of the goodness that we are offering as an offshore BPO destination in the Philippines. Mind you, 70%, Jack, of our clients in MicroSourcing are small and medium enterprises.
That's so interesting, Heidi, because that sounds like we've expanded as an industry the prospective set of locators and investors.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right.
So let's talk about your company, MicroSourcing. How are you upskilling your workforce, Heidi, to meet this growing demand for what you mentioned, digital, analytics, and other AI focused sectors?
You know, Jack, last January, I read a World Economic Forum report on futures of jobs. Okay? And in there, the report showed, or at least shared, that 68% of Filipinos need either upskilling or reskilling or both. And that particular number is higher than the global average. To your question, in microsourcing, we're saying 100% of microsourcing professionals will have to be either reskilled or upskilled, including myself. So our approach to upskilling is multi-pronged, multi-channel. First and foremost, we're utilizing internal resources and internal programs. And by the way, it goes just beyond reskilling and upskilling our current employees. I'd like to specifically point out a project or a program that we started in MicroSourcing and Beepo a year and a half ago. It's called Project Hired. Okay? Hired. Think near hired training, but level 2.0, because it is focused on a particular discipline and the technical and digital requirements of that particular role. We designed and co-designed the training curriculum with the clients. It's tailor-fitted to their requirements, and then we target those talent pool that are already doing the profession, but just needs that particular knowledge or certification in that particular domain requirement. I'll give you a clear example. Again, AU, finance and accounting, specifically accountants that need experience in zero. There was a lot of need, even as far back as a year and a half ago, and we just couldn't find them in the market. So we said, why don't we co-design a certification program with select number of clients whom we know have projected needs for this particular type of role profile, and then we offer an allowance, and then after the certification program, we funnel them back into the recruiting process, and voila. You know, through this particular process, from not being able to find any candidates that are viable and acceptable to the clients, we were able to graduate 60.
So this sounds like a very customized talent development for near hires as well as existing employees?
Yes, existing clients, existing employees who might want to be cross-skilled. Now, we also have an internal platform where it's again two-pronged. You can choose to be part of the program on your own, or the clients or your manager can say, hey, based on your individual development plan, we'd like you to partake or to be part of this program. Many courses, almost 100 courses, mostly in digital skills, are embedded in our MicroSourcing University. So so that's internal, Jack. Insofar as external programs are concerned, we partner very heavily with tech ed platforms like Coursera and Udemy, whether it's MOOC or tailored courses for specific domain expertise. We also have sent the most number, as an organization, we have sent the most number of participants to the LIT program, Lead, Inspire, Transform program, which is a partnership between Asian Institute of Management and the Contact Center Association of the Philippines, particularly targeting mid-level managers on how to manage people in this digital age. Right?
Oh, so you're referring to leadership skills?
Yeah, absolutely.
That remains to be, another skill area that needs work on. We're gonna have to go back to that important point, Haidee, because right now we're gonna take a short break. Tech Week will be right back. Please stay with us. And we're back on Tech Week. We continue our conversation with MicroSourcing and Beepo's CEO, Haidee Enriquez. Haidee, we've talked about the importance of critical thinking, comprehension, and before the break, you talked about leadership skills. Now, why, in your words, is that important?
Well, leaders have always been around, right? However, we strongly believe in microsourcing that the type of leaders and the competencies that are required of leaders to be able to lead people in this new age of technology is different from how, for example, I was taught to lead people in the past. That's why constant upskilling in this particular area is still very important. As a matter of fact, Jack, when I looked at all of the roles that either have been diminished a little bit or has improved a lot, at the end of the day, there's not really any difference that we're seeing or I am seeing insofar as demand for mid-level managers are concerned. So it's still there. And I dare say that there are many ways by which we can future-proof that in spite of the technology advancements going at warp speed, leaders and managers of people and technology will constantly be in need. However, we need to make sure that we're teaching our leaders, particularly those that are responsible for leading people, that they need to also adjust and adapt the way they're managing to attune to the current realities. The other program, Jack, as I was pointing out, that we really focused on in partnership with other agencies is the Sparta program. I do not know whether you remember this. This is a scholarship program sponsored by the government in partnership with the industry association to train our workforce in data science. This started 2 years ago, from data analytics to data engineering, right? So MicroSourcing and Beepo sent also the most number of scholars. We had 56 graduates of the Project Sparta.
So your company has really continued to invest in the upskilling and reskilling of people. And that remains probably one of the bigger investments for the industry that has to be, borne by the private sector in cooperation with the government.
And one of the things, Jack, as you know, I also lead the Talent and Attraction Development Committee of the Industry Association. One of the things that really I am personally very happy about is the current support that we're getting from the government, the EBET, the Enterprise Based Training Fund, and support that we're able to get. MicroSourcing and Beepo currently have 9,000 employees. You know the number of trainees that we have committed under that program for this year alone? 10,000.
Wow, more than the existing workforce.
Exactly.
Amazing.
The reason for that is that there are certain roles that we have identified to be leading not just one program, but multiple programs.
Excellent. So I'm going to shift gears, Haidee. What gives the Philippines a unique advantage when it comes to developing talent in the IT BPM space?
Well, you've said several of those already, but let me just zero in on our demographical advantage, particularly as an industry. So our median age in the industry is 26 years old. That means these are digital natives.
Right.
So they were born already with all of these gadgets and technology around them. Okay? So it comes intrinsically to many of our workforce. The second one, I'd say, has to do with how adaptable we are as a culture. Many cultures, many countries have commented also on how resilient we are as a nation. Look at how many storms, how many earthquakes we get on an annual basis. But still, we're able to adjust and adapt to all of these trying and challenging circumstances. The third one, I'd say, and I observed, has to do with our intrinsic ability to relate to people. Because at the end of the day, this industry is all about developing and cultivating meaningful relationship. And that's where we truly excel as a workforce.
It is through those relationships that, the trust between customer and service provider is built.
Yeah.
Considering that our industry is really all about solving problems of our customers.
Yes, and look, many of our clients really don't have entities in the Philippines. That's why it's called offshoring and outsourcing, right? So we become the extension of their brand. We become the extension of the culture of their organization. So all of these attributes of the Filipino workers become very, very important.
So Haidee, I wanted to ask, how do you balance, this technology implementation at scale while still maintaining the very strong people-first culture in microsourcing?
Very, very important, Jack, because it's easy to get lost amidst all of the noise brought about by technology. At the center of it, I believe, Jack, is the principle of human-centric tech adoption. Okay? So what does that mean? It has to be very clear in the leadership mind as well as in how we communicate to our people that we are adapting technology not to disable them, but to enable them. Yes. Not to take away their jobs, but to help them become more productive. Okay? The tagline of microsourcing, insofar as our employee value proposition is concerned, is be 100% you. So whatever implementation of technology, whatever new platforms we decide to adapt, it's always anchored on that employee value proposition. How will this particular tool or technology, whether it may be a productivity enhancement tool or an ERP system or a chatbot, in what way will it help you become and realize the 100% you?
So what I took away from that, Haidee, is it's not man versus machine. No? It's man with machine working together, solving customers'
Absolutely.
problems.
Man plus machine rather than man versus machine, or maybe humans, to be more politically correct about it.
So you've already talked about how your company maintains its talent pipeline to ensure that your talent and existing workforce are future ready, amidst all this transformation. But as a last question, Haidee, for our viewers, when you look ahead, what, in your words, will be the defining characteristic of this AI-augmented BPO tech talent workforce, from all your experience in microsourcing?
Yeah.
What is that going to look like?
So let me put it very simply. I have an acronym for it.
Wow.
Yeah, and the acronym is CARE. CARE. Curious, agile, responsible, and empathetic. Curious, meaning the talents of the BPO industry will have to be constantly asking and seeking questions rather than those who are just okay with the status quo. Secondly, agile, and I don't just mean like being able to do many things, but agility in mindset, the openness.
Attitude.
Exactly, the openness to try new things as well as the openness to challenge prevailing notions and beliefs and practices. Agility of mind, to me, means that you look at something and you think, how can I make this better? Or is there a better way of doing it? Okay? R for responsible or responsibility means that I am particularly zeroing in on data security and being responsible users or maybe creators of technology, that there's always a strong ethical foundation to whatever we're doing. And empathy, obviously you've mentioned that already, it should remain to be at the core of everything that we do, because I truly believe, Jack, it's a competitive advantage for us Filipinos.
I think it's the Filipino superpower.
Yeah, absolutely, right on. So while your question revolved around surviving in the tech world that's moving at warp speed, to me, at the end of the day, it is care that will help us continue to be the global epicenter of BPO excellence.
Well, that's great. I'm going to remember that. CARE, curiosity, agility, responsibility,
And empathy.
on that bedrock of empathy.
Yes,
That
absolutely.
will be a wrap for this week's Tech Week. A big thank you to Haidee for sharing your invaluable insights with all of us.
Thank you, Jack. It's an honor and a pleasure.
The future is being built right now, and conversations like this help us decode the future and how we navigate what is next. Join us again next week as we dive into another game-changing story shaping technology, business, and innovation. Until then, stay curious, stay bold, stay ahead. I'm your host, Jack Madrid. You can catch BNC on Free TV Channel 31 and on Signal Channel 24. Thank you for watching BNC, the Billionario News Channel, always on top.